Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen a las beam before. Here it is. Beautiful. Sexy even. Now this. What's up with that? So, there's been a bit of a debacle lately. Is it red beam? Is it yellow beam? Is it a beam? Is it a blaster? Is it a fucking fudge popsicle? There's a lot of discussion about it, and I kind of wanted to throw my own hat in the ring because this is absolutely baby fandom rage over some nonsense, but hey, it's baby fandom rage I can get behind. So what's going on with the beams? First of all, people are getting mad that the color of the beam seems to be changing in newer Warhammer titles, from lasguns previously having a more red and pronounced beam to a more yellowish weird beam. Add on top of that they're changing it from a beam to a blaster shot, and now everyone is kind of confused and upset about it. Why are they changing the lasguns? This is fucking weird. The color debacle is very strange because they've always been depicted as yellow in previous works of fiction. I don't really care that the Helldiver's gunshot is yellow. They've always been yellow. That's how Helldivers does its lasers. What is weird about it is that it's not a beam, a constructed line from point A to point B that is drawn like a, flashlight shining a light on something. That's kind of how lasguns had been depicted for a while, because that's how I think they started being depicted in Dawn of War, like the first Dawn of War. Darktide las beams is always how I've imagined they look like, and it seems like that's how most people have imagined they look like. So a lot of people are complaining not only that the color is changing to yellow, but that it's becoming a blaster shot like a Star Wars gun. And backpedaling to change lasguns to look more like yellow beam shots is their choice as creators to do what they want with their own visual identity. What I am gonna say though is, as somebody who studies design and games and writing and a bunch of other shit, it's an absolutely bizarre choice to change it to a yellow blaster shot, because when you start looking at it closely, it stops looking like a laser shot and it just looks like regular gunfire shots. I think that's a lot of complaints people have from it, because this is the Astra Militarum, or the space military. Long red laser beams immediately gave them a visual identity different from other properties, and Warhammer is a property that takes other science fiction properties and changes them up a little bit. And by changes them a little, I mean cranks that big messed up meter. But because of the way that the visuals look, it doesn't look like they're firing laser blaster shots anymore. It almost looks like they're just firing regular shell gunfire shots, like a regular firearm. And to me personally, your entire science fiction space army firing regular gunfire bullets is far less interesting than them firing a unique science fiction weapon. It just makes the setting feel less science fiction and more grounded in a way that isn't more interesting. That's all. It's mostly just a weird visual storytelling change that makes the Militarum feel a lot lamer. But this is all opinion, obviously. Maybe people really like the yellow lasers. Maybe somebody on the design team really likes the color yellow, so that's why this is happening. They're free to do what they want, I just don't really like the change. And if we're gonna see more yellow beams in the future, well, that's how I feel about it. Not great. And the whole laser color debate is a huge rabbit hole, and there's a lot of different nuances. I mean, technically the laser color can be anything you want it to be. Technically, Darktide fucked up. From what I've read, the Recon lasgun, or the Rico as I like to call it, is supposed to be blue. The Elysian drop troopers that use these guns say they use blue beams. Which, speaking of Elysian drop troopers, Arrowhead. Really? Really? You used Cadians? It was right there! It's right there! Drop troopers, come on! Whatever, at least they finally gave us a melt-a-gun. Also, since we're airing out dirty laundry, listen, I try to keep the I like videos pretty positive because ultimately I think they're worth celebrating and I really like the Skitarii. But because we're talking about las weapons, I think the weapon selection for the Skitarii is super fucking weird. Like, of all the characters and their weapon selections, I think the Skitarii is the weirdest one so far. Why can they use the las pistol, but they can't use any other las gun? The Skitarii, Tech Warrior. It makes no sense, and it's probably the most overtly we couldn't do it because of balance reasons reason. Other than maybe the Rico lasgun and the infantry lasgun are just really unstable with their machine spirits, but that makes even less sense, I think. And I don't really know what to say about this. I would really like to have all the las weapons, but also if it's a balance reason, then that means they'd have to rework a bunch of stuff. Either they'd have to rework keystones, or they'd rework the veteran, or they'd rework the las weapons, and yeah, it seems like a massive headache. But yeah, I don't know, it's really weird and annoying, and it bugs me to no end that I can't use a Rico lasgun on this class, among many other things, but that's just one of my criticisms. That's kind of all this video is, just a short little get my thoughts out there on this weird little debacle, and just to thank everyone who stuck it out. I'm probably going to work on a few more Darktide videos, maybe a couple of short guides for game modes. My main interest right now is to move into other Warhammer games and other RPGs, so stay tuned for that. Alright, thank you all, and see you in the next one.